GM, everyone. Welcome back to another GC Crypto TV episode. Obviously, today we have a special guest. So it's Friday morning here in Australia, but Thursday night over in the American side of the world. But Chile Army 123, also known as Clemente, joins us today. Mate, how you going today? Thank you so much for jumping on with us.
Thanks for having me. Really excited to be here. This is a sick stream setup. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Amazing, mate. And Craig, GM to you, mate. How you going today on this fine Friday morning?
Yeah, Jim, everyone, GG to those in America. Thanks for tuning in, Clemente. Again, thanks for jumping on, brother. Been a big fan of your timeline work. And good to have a fellow comedian on the stream with me. Normally, I'm the funny one, so
all right. All right,
I can let go of some of the slack, man, and you can pick it up, hopefully. But a pleasure to have you on. Been looking forward to this for weeks with Greeny. Happy Friday for those who celebrate Friday. We're front running the States. Happy Thursday. And let's get the ball rolling. What do we got, Greeny? What do we got?
Well, I think we'll dive straight in. Like, obviously, probably start with just a bit more of a background story. So the people that maybe don't know who you are, Clemente, can find out a little bit about you. But obviously, I like to start with more of your crypto story. So when did you first get into crypto? What did you buy? What did you get involved in? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I first got into crypto. During the pandemic, I bought a little bit, dabbled in it very passively. I got into it more aggressively when I finished school, which was end of 2021. I was finishing college and I got super into NFTs. So I top blasted Ethereum, lost money on that. But I just found it very interesting. And I quit my job after college. I had a sales job. I quit it because I was like, hey, this is just super interesting. And it's something I want to get full exposure to. Initially, that turned into me just trading NFTs, and me feeling like I was a genius when in reality, it was just the market for me. Well, it's kind of what I'm seeing right now. Everyone's like, yo, I told you. Hey, who doubted me? Who doubted me?
And we'll get to that. Don't worry. We'll get to that.
But I got super into that. I got obsessed with trading. I was on my computer all day, similar to what you see now with trenching, with Memecoins. It's just everyone's scanning, spending 16 hours a day. I did that for 4 months. I turned 20 grand into 90 grand. So I was doing pretty well. And then the top, everything came down, and then I lost a lot of it. And then at one point I got greedy and I was trying to make extra trades. I ended up getting scammed. I lost 80% of my portfolio from a phishing link, trade of NFT. And I lost most of my portfolio. And that was at the time, it was the worst thing that could have happened to me. But in hindsight, that was so good for me because it forced me to realize that trading is pretty much not really going to get me anywhere because I lost all that money. And then I'm like, okay, what have I built? I don't have anything to show for the last 3 months because I haven't built any skill other than hyper gambling. So then I just started doing social. I got a first job making a few $100 a week as a social media manager for an NFT project. Then I got another job as a social media manager. I kind of bounced around a bunch of places. And then eventually I ended up with the Bodagos guys, I believe beginning of 2023, as a behind the scenes guy doing partnerships, newsletter, podcast production, etc. And then about a year and a half ago, I started getting into video content. I pretty much realized this pretty gap in the market, which a lot of people, basically everyone in crypto was talking about the wins and how much money they were making. And I'm like, okay, well, the reality of it is most people actually don't make money. Most of the trades in crypto are not a win. So anyways, long story short, I started making videos authentically about just what I was just showing up every day and recording content. I was like, I'm going to try to trade my way up to a certain amount of blast gold and do these trading challenges and just record the good and the bad and doing it up with video content. It slowly, it's evolved over time, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And then it's been like a year and a half of doing that, just trying to get better, but still like big focus is just video content.
Yeah, I love that. Craig?
Yeah, look, I wanted to, I mean, one of the more boring questions, but I kind of always find it interesting. Clemente, what was the first crypto that you bought when you first entered? What was the first crypto? What did you buy? Was it Bitcoin or something more exotic?
I bought Ethereum. I didn't buy Bitcoin until like 2 years into my like crypto journey.
Wow.
I bought only Ethereum. Ethereum is like my worst trade ever. I have a hatred for it because I held it. I bought it at the top. My average buy price, I think, is like above $3,500, like at least, if not more. I told my family to buy it at above four grand. So, like they all got super mad at me for that, and I was like embarrassed for so long about it. Yeah, it was Ethereum, and I didn't buy Bitcoin really until like probably a year ago. I started like seriously buying it and it becoming more of a like big part of my portfolio.
Yeah. Do you think over time with your time in here, you started in 21, actually the same time I did, due to kind of COVID as well, Clemente. I was in sales as well. Got sick of all that crap, blah, blah, blah. You know the drill being in sales, man. Month targets and all that. What did you find with time in the saddle, probably near PO as well, you just organically and naturally went towards Bitcoin as something more natural?
Part of the problem was, it was a realization that I spent like, if I hadn't rotated in November of 2023, I rotated heavily into Solana. I sold a lot of my ETH. I actually sold a lot of the stocks that I had back then for Solana. And I bought, my average purchase price on Solana was like $30, right?
Yeah, great.
So I made a good move there, but I had a moment where I realized I was like, oh, I could have just, out of all the bullshit I've done, the hundreds of hours I've spent trading, of pressing buttons, winning and losing, mostly losing, I could have just bought Bitcoin and I probably would have outperformed. If not for like Solana helped me outperform a little bit, but if you look at it from like a time spent perspective, outside of like a few trades I've made, Bitcoin would have been a better move. So I think there's a certain period of like humility you need to have that requires buying Bitcoin, because for me, it was like, that's boomer shit. I'm not going to buy something and just like, I'm going to outperform. I'm going to buy ETH. I'm going to buy Solana, whatever altcoin, and I'm going to use it to stack more Bitcoin is what you always tell yourself. And then even if you sell it, you're like, oh, I'm going to stable up here. I'm going to wait to get Bitcoin at a lower price. Yes. So over time, I realized that I'm not better. Most of the time, I'm not going to outperform Bitcoin. I still have, like, before my portfolio was like 4% Bitcoin. Now it's 50%, right? So I still have a decent amount of like alt exposure, but yeah.
And is that now, like, because we had Pierre on the show, I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was like, he asked us, like, which I'll ask you at the end of the show today as well. But his question was, is there an asset that you would never sell? And for me, I said no. Like, I will always probably sell all of my assets, mainly because I make my money via trading, right? He might have cash flow in other ways and whatnot, so he can afford to stack BTC for decades, right? Do you have a plan to hold this BTC now for 5, 10, 15, 20 years? Like, I think you're about 5 years younger than me at least. And I know Easy obviously bought about 5 BTC and he's just thrown that into a ledger and thrown that away so that he doesn't touch that for a long time. So is that the same thesis that you have as well?
I'm not selling my Bitcoin. I actually am buying more.
Yeah. Okay.
I bought some like this week. I bought like, nothing crazy. I bought a couple grand worth, but I bought some at 118K, and it's more so the idea of like, I'm not a trader at the end of the day. Like, I just want somewhere to put my money into, right? And you can make the argument, I can just buy like the S&P 500. That's also another, like, I just want to buy assets versus hold cash. And that's all I'm going to do. It's just a way to maintain, like, I look at Bitcoin as a way, like, you create excess energy, like excess economic energy, right? If you make more than you spend, what are you going to do with that extra energy? Like, back in the day, people would just put it into gold. They would buy goats, horses, whatever it is you want it to hold its value over time. to me, that's Bitcoin. So I just buy it like to stash my money away.
Mm.
And I think that's been a big shift. Like property is, you could throw into that conversation too. Like, and because like here in Australia, and I know it's pretty similar for you guys over there as well. Like you live in good spots, and so the commercial and also the private property here is just nuts. Like it's nearly unattainable for the average Joe. So for even us in crypto, it's like, well, shit, I have to earn like a couple $1,000,000 over the course of a couple of years to even potentially dip my toes in the sand in this market. It's just nuts to think about when you can just keep it liquid, as you say, chuck it into diversification of assets, maybe some NFTs, maybe some Bitcoin, maybe some altcoins, and then obviously the S&P 500, and obviously some silver and gold if you want to do that. And I think that's just, it's been a big generational shift I've noticed. And I think it's going to continue in the next sort of 5 to 10 years. Talking about your content before, do you think, like, you obviously, like, I was a little bit older, so I grew up with Instagram, I grew up with Snapchat, but TikTok came when I was already a little bit older. Do you think being slightly younger helped you with the content of understanding what works for short form content for crypto Twitter? Because as I agree, like I've supported your content for a long time because there was such a niche for it and there was such a gap for it. So do you think that translated a lot to sort of get you where you are today?
I think it certainly helps. I tried a lot of different things in content. Like I think inherently, I've said this multiple times before, Gen Z marketers are going to slowly replace like the boomer marketers in a lot of departments, and they're going to outperform them with a fraction of the budget because they understand like virality, they understand content, because they themselves, their attention span is like fried, right? But it comes from also the video content, and the short form video I do is also just comes from like 2 years of my content sucking and like being terrible at it. I tried to start like 3 different podcasts. I did audiograms, I did written tweets, I did all of that. And over time you kind of learn what content performs well, how to make content perform well, but also like how to create content about like how you can create content, and learning like how you are as a person, what your persona is, what makes you unique, and how do you show up every day in that way through your content.
I think that's the biggest part of the people that grow is they tell their story, the ups and the downs, as you mentioned, but they do it in their unique way. They're not trying to be someone else. They're not trying to be Ansem. They're not trying to be someone else on the timeline, right? They're doing their own unique path. And if you stay consistent enough with that, you'll grow. Like, and naturally you will grow. It just takes a long time. So I love hearing that. Craig, over to you, mate.
Yeah, we've got a few questions in the chat, and it was actually one of them was one of the ones I wanted to ask. Someone's saying, ask about his, where is it, the Blast arc. And it's actually something Easy mentioned when he was on chatting to us. And he said he's sort of, I think, I'm trying to think of the words he used, so this may not be verbatim, but he was saying he admired you, I think he used the words, you went all in on Blast. And I think you came out the other side quite successful from what I heard. I didn't actually see that unfold. So I don't know if you want to run us through that, Clemente. What did Easy mean by you sort of went all in and focused on that? How did that pan out?
Yeah, as a creator, like if you're starting out, the number one tip I give any creator is you have to, or anyone that wants to build an audience, like it doesn't, the word creator to some people is like, they don't, to me, it also is a little weird. You have to start in a niche. And to me, I found Blast very interesting because there was a lot of content to be created about it. There was an arbitrage between interest in the chain and content being created about it. So I was like, okay, cool. I can go in and saturate this niche with my content. I want to obsess over this thing. Everything about it, I will be covering, because you are able to tap into a passionate community that's going to support you, because they're incentivized to. It's really interesting. Like, creating content in crypto is really cool because you tap into these niches and people are financialized incentives to they're incentivized to engage with it and to amplify it, which is really cool. Like, a baseball team doesn't want their baseball team to become more popular, but a meme coin or a blockchain, they want it to, like, it's all an attention game. So it's awesome. I had the same conversation, and that's what helped me build a really passionate and like core audience with Blast.
Yeah.
And then I was able to bridge and like start elsewhere afterwards. I had a little bit of like an identity crisis after Blast because it like underperformed. And I was like, what am I going to do next? But you take the same framework and you just apply it to a broader topic. I had the same conversation. I don't know if Eli's listening. Eli, I told him for months, I was like, you need like he was trying to figure out where to tap into. And I was like, dude, he ended up talking about abstract. The pivot he made into abstract is the exact same thing. You're seeing someone that like is the master of an ecosystem, is saturating it with content and is showing up every day. And you're seeing the difference that it made with it. So that's the same thing. Like abstract is another opportunity that was basically the same as for me with Blast.
Yeah, I agree with that point. I was literally going to bring up Eli and say that that's exactly what he's done now with abstract. And he's asked me 2 questions to ask you specifically. Was Clemente a professional dancer? And Clemente, he can't believe that you faded Guna on his show a couple months back.
The first part was like professional dancer. No. But I've always been like, I don't know what the word is, charismatic or like energetic in a lot of things. I was playing tennis. I would do like these weird celebrations when I'd win and people would hate it. I was always kind of like a goofball. With Gunnar, Eli crushed it. The thing that I'm looking at with Eli, because what's cool about abstract is you can look at people's wallets.
Yeah, I know, man. I look at his wallet every day.
I looked at it as well. I'm like, this guy's out of control. This guy is, you're looking at a 6-figure portfolio. And the brutal part about it, this was screwed me over with Blast. You have so much conviction in something. If you hold it from like for so long and you have so much belief in it that it's so hard to sell. It happened with me and Pac Moon on Blast. I round tripped, not as much. I think it was like 30K, right? With abstract, it's a different game because like Pac Moon made it to 500 million, right? And it was like, or whatever, 300 million. Like it was a huge asset. And it was a fraction of it for me. I was a fraction of it. Eli, I'm fascinated by it because they're like 2 to 3, like abstract's market caps are so much lower. There's so much less liquidity that he owns like 2% of the supply of every single coin. Yeah. So I'm like, oh my God. How do you exit that while being like such an ambassador for the ecosystem? So I'm fascinated by it. I wish him the best of luck. He's absolutely crushing it right now. And it's really like he is like just straight up 50 grand of Gunnar.
I know, it's ridiculous. And he had like 30 grand of Deep Pengu like a couple of weeks ago as well. No, it's nuts. Like I did the same, right? Like but everyone knows that I'm a trader and I outwardly say, guys, I am a trader. I'm here to make money. I will clip profits into this Gunnar pump. And so like I got in at 550K. So it's up like 8X nearly. And so I've been clipping profits all along the way. And I go to check his what? No sells. And I'm like, okay, I believe in it. The meme's strong, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, he will face a situation. I don't know if it's a goal that he's trying to get to, liquidity, whatever it is. But yeah, good on him having the balls to just stick in it. So that's huge. All right, let's talk on some topics more notably on the timeline at the moment, because I want to get your take. Obviously, you're plugged into a range of different ecosystems. You create content around basically the whole space. So like, I want to talk obviously about Pump.Fun and Bonk. We've obviously seen a big flippening, I suppose you could call it, with Bonk and Let's Bonk over the sort of past couple of weeks. I know you were quite notable around Pump.Fun and the token and buying it and all those sorts of things as well. What's your thesis with Memecoins right now in the whole sort of crypto space? And then obviously strategically more around Bonk versus Pump.Fun.
Yeah, I got a lot of flack for this. But like a month ago, I talked about on our morning podcast that we do that I think we're going to see an insane meme coin season that's retail focused, bigger than like if you look at the on-chain volume, that was the peak of like on-chain like trenching last, let's say November, right, or October, whatever the all-time high was last year of like peak launches, graduation volume wallets. We're going to pass that, if not like straight up double it. Yeah. And it's going to be retail led. and it's not going to be memes that like we're very familiar with. I have two examples of this.
Mm-hmm.
Number one is Chill Guy. Chill Guy ran
Mhm.
from 0 to like $250 million in less than a week. And all like 90% of those wallets were new wallets. So that was like a huge onboarding event that happened. And most of crypto Twitter was sidelined to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I look at that and I look at recognizable, like I think a lot of people think of memes very crypto natively. Like I have a huge Fartcoin is my biggest meme coin, for example, but like I actually don't think that's a very that's a very crypto niche joke, and it's getting like media press. But the Chill Guy, for example, is a meme that people could like recognize. It's all over their timeline. They see a like stock correlated to it, and they're like, okay, cool, I want to buy Chill Guy. I'm gonna buy stock of Chill Guy. I'm gonna put $50 into it. That is my like. I think we're gonna see that again, but with like 3 or 4 coins. Mudang was another example. That's how I think we see that level of mania again. A month ago, I got called an idiot for that. Now people are like, oh, maybe that's actually going to happen because all of a sudden we're risk on. Now, the problem is like buying anything under 100K or sub $1 million. Like it's so hard to do that, and retail's eventually probably not going to do that. Right.
Yeah.
So they're going to buy things like, I'm not saying go trench 24/7. So with a pump fund versus like the pump fund race versus Bonk, their launch pad, I tweet like I've talked about this a few times. With pump fund is going for a bigger pie. Like before this, like pump fund has always been a pie expander, right? You look at like 2 years ago, you couldn't launch a meme coin the traditional, like you could before pump fund, it was very difficult to launch a meme coin.
Yeah, you had to go to Radium directly. Yeah.
It was extremely difficult, right?
Yeah.
Pump fund grew the meme coin pie.
Yeah.
Massively, and made it like so much more accessible, so like created all these massive movements in community. And now they're trying to do it again. They're trying to grow the pie with like streamers and like with social media. And it's an incredibly difficult thing to do, even more difficult than what they did before. This raise that they did of $600 million, they had to say they were growing the pie in order to justify the raise. I think it was 100% strategic from a business perspective. 100%. They were losing market share. Their revenue's down. Like it was all these tailwinds that they were, or these headwinds that they were feeling. But this is a great move for the business. I think the business is going to succeed in the long term, but I don't think but that takes years to do. And you have everyone that's worried like in the last 4 days, that's like, what is happening with this token? So the buybacks aren't structured. Like it's just very sporadic. There were no plans for the token. I think the KOL scan acquisition was just an acquisition that they did to say, hey, look, like, we need more money. We're going to do more of these. The KOL scan was like such a bullshit acquisition. Everyone was like, oh my God, this is amazing. The acquisition was trash.
Yeah,
but they
100%.
used it as a way to position like, hey, we're going to make like trading for influence, like great again, whatever it was. Right. Now the token the next couple of days, I don't know what it'll do. I have some, I bought this dip. I told myself I wouldn't buy it, and I ended up freaking getting involved into it. So we'll see. Obviously I want it to go up, but I'm like, this thing could very well just not perform well.
I actually just checked it now. It's trending down. I just saw your post. So you just bought, were you in pre-sale, Clemente, or did you buy in now? Yeah.
No, I'm in the US, so I can't.
Oh, true. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm still holding from pre-sale, so I'm like you, man. I'm riding this bad boy to zero or Valhalla. And hopefully it goes up. But yeah, same as you. A few concerns. The team's been fairly quiet, haven't they?
Yeah, like it's just not everyone is. It's the same level. It happens every time with bag holders that have bias over like this. The team is going to do something. I remember this so vividly, like 2 years ago when Azuki raised like $3 million on Elementals, right, on their NFT mint, or however much money I think it was more. It was like 50 million, whatever the number is, and the art revealed, and people were like, "Oh my God." yo, this is a fake reveal. They're going to reveal the real art so soon, or D-God season 2, whatever it was. Yo, guys, this is a fake out to get more attention. It never is the case. Now, so I'm like, all of those reasons I should be selling right now, but I'm going to try to ride this thing for like, can it recover 20%? I hope so. I hope we can get back up to like 6, 7B, and then I will definitely be selling some.
Yeah, no. I wanted to ask just on the creator front for you, Clemente. You're obviously out there. You're making video content with Bodoggers as well. Rich Nick, PO. You guys have put out banger content for a while now. I wanted to ask, and this is just more from a personal point of view and from a creator point of view, how do you put aside some of the comments that you may cop online? So say you put a video out online, Rich Nick for me, or Nick is a good example of this, where he can put out content, what seems like the most goofy, stupid content, whereby he must know and you must know, but especially him, he's going to cop spears, flames, give him shit about his looks or whatever. How do you guys go about putting content out and having thick enough skin? Because I don't know if I'm a bit more like you, Clemente. I'm quite a sensitive person. I'm goofy, I like joking around, but you can get your feelings hurt, right? I want to know how you guys go about putting out so much content and handling some of the hate I'm sure you'll no doubt get, for various reasons. How do you go about that as a creator? How do you stomach that?
I honestly, with some of the, I can tell when a tweet or a video is going to trigger people or make them, you just mute it. Honestly, I don't care. It doesn't really matter if it's someone I have no idea who they are. That has zero impact on me. There is a psychological aspect of reading negative comments. It doesn't matter if you have thick skin; it will affect you. Just reading negative shit about you is just straight up not good for you. If you have thick skin, not thick skin, even when I'm reading, I did a post, whatever, about a meme coin. I'm like, this thing is trash. And people are so mad about it. They were calling me so much shit. And I'm like, I know these guys are just random ass, losers basically, but it still is I just muted it. Cool. Nick gets way more hate. Nick has thicker skin than anyone I've ever met.
Yeah.
And he shows what it means to be truly authentically yourself. We have this conversation a lot, especially recently. The biggest key to making good content is showing up as yourself, figuring out what it is that makes you, and tripling down on that. Nick is doing it to its extreme level. He is posting a picture of himself, and the picture is very strategically made. The with all that, and he's saying, "I'm 43, I'm single, I'm in crypto, suck it." And it gets people so mad. Even I have conversations with other people that want to make content, and I actually ask them to tell me about themselves. Tell me about yourself. How did you get into crypto? And all of a sudden you start learning. Yeah, this is Nick leaning into it more recently with the Joe Camel meme. He's an absolute animal. But we talk to people crypto in general is very anonymous. People don't talk about themselves, and they're missing a huge opportunity to actually showcase who they are versus this is their identity on Twitter this is what I own. This is what I'm bullish on. And that's it. But you're missing such a big pie, which is why are you here? Why do you go on Twitter? What is it that you're trying to hustle and make money for? And I talked to a guy recently. He's a dad. He's a dad. He just had a kid last year. I'm like, dude, and he doesn't talk about it at all. I'm like, no, there are so many people in crypto that are dads, are married, are dads, and want and work at a W-2 at a 9 to 5 and want to be into crypto full time. What's your perspective like? How's the bull cycle, this cycle, different than last cycle when you didn't have a kid? Are you more risk on? Are you more risk off? How do you justify? How do you talk to your wife about crypto? How do these conversations? That's fascinating to me. And I don't even have I don't have kids. I'm not married. I'm fascinated by that. And that's an example of like, no, it's not bait, but it's like being authentically yourself, and just showing up and like showing that in a genuine way.
Great answer. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, that was great. I love, especially yours and Nick's. And I think, Greenie, you and I have kind of leaned into that. We've been docs for quite some time, and we found that's been quite an advantage versus all those people that prefer to remain anonymous and can be edgy or can make remarks racist, sexist, and kind of get away scot-free. And I get that with Twitter, but unfortunately with those sorts of people, you don't always get much quality with the content. And I think Greenie and I leaning into being docs and just being ourselves, Greenie, has probably been the best brand move we've made, isn't it? And it wasn't even a deliberate move. It's just, that's who I always was. I was just a fucking idiot my whole life. And you either loved it or hated it, but hopefully I made you laugh, even if you didn't like me. And Clemente, you're probably much the same. But no, great answer, dude. I love the way Nick goes on there and he just doesn't give a fuck. And I quite look up to that because that's something that's probably a weakness of mine that I hope to improve over time. And that's probably a maturity thing as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like the psychology sometimes does affect me. Depends on like who it is, but I generally, because like I was previously a teacher, so it's not like I'm not used to receiving some outlandish feedback from parents, from kids in my classroom, whatever the fuck it was. Anyways, like that, I was used to it. So like you do kind of understand that like everyone has their opinion, but the same thing. I'm like, I call them out. I generally go, well, okay, you go do what I'm doing and prove me and show me that you can do it better in this sort of way. So no, I agree with you, Craig. Like for me, the perspective, and I'd love to obviously get Clemente's take on this. Like for me, it was like there's this huge gap in Australia. Like there's not many creators over here that are one, docs, but two, probably showing up as consistently. And so that was a big area for me to go, oh, hey, like we should like double down on that. Let's just be consistent. Let's start doing this all the time. Let's keep showing up over time. Let's start partnering with new people over time, and let's get people on the show, all those sorts of things. And the good part about being on this time zone, because there's a lot of negatives about being on this time zone, but the good part is that we are, as it's 7 p.m. for you in America right now. So no one's really streaming at that time of the day, right? So that's a big area that I also was like, you know what, Craig, like let's go to town on this. Let's go hard because we're here for the next 5, 10, 15 years. Why not start working on it now?
Yeah, the biggest right now content and frankly creators on crypto Twitter, or just in general, crypto creators, they have like a really short lifespan. Yeah. You like operating and zooming out. I have the same way of thinking where I'm like, I'm operating on a 5-year, 10-year like perspective. I'm going to lose most day. Like you can beat me over days, weeks, months, whatever it is, but I'm always like, my advantage is that I'm going to stick around longer. I'm going to show up every single freaking day and work my ass off. That's all I control. And I'm like, and over time, I've been in crypto 4 years, 4.5 years, whatever. Over time, I've seen so many people go from like the top of the world, they make money, and then they just dip. They were only in it for the money, and then they're cooked, and then they're like fast money. They make it and then they leave. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's someone else that I don't have to compete with. And that's just share. That's just wide open for me to capitalize on. Done. My perspective has been more, and that's frankly why like buying more Bitcoin and having a bigger percentage of my portfolio in Bitcoin has helped, is like my sole goal is to get better at creating content that resonates with people. Whether it makes you laugh, whether it makes you angry, like that just captivates people's attention, and getting as good at that as possible is how I look at my progress. It's not from a portfolio value. Obviously, it's good to make money, and I got the huge plus. Crypto, by the way, crypto content, you can it's the best place that you can be a content creator. You cannot monetize on like Instagram until you're at like 100,000 followers.
We were literally talking about this before you joined. Like we were like, ad revenue on X is nuts. It's nuts.
I made like 2K last month from Twitter. Like that's out of control. It's freaking awesome. Crypto, I'm convinced, is the best industry to operate in if you are less focused on making money and more on building your career in crypto. It's wide open.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Craig?
Yeah, I wanted to ask one of the questions people ask and that I was curious about is you getting into the Bodogos, Clemente. What was your sort of opening there, or how did you were you making content for them on the side at some point, and then eventually had a conversation about coming onto the team? How did that transition occur, or
No,
how did you shoot your shot there?
I was working as a production person for Ryan Carson. I don't know if you guys remember him. He is an
I remember
like
the name,
he was trying to build like an like a community through these daily spaces and was giving out POAPs. He was doing very well, and I looked at him as someone that was going to be like I was going to learn a lot, and it was going to help me grow my audience. And I hit him up, and I was like, dude, I'll work for you for free. Just let me help like on Twitter Space, because there's a lot of things I laid out like a bunch of reasons on why he like on things he could be doing better. I was like, let me produce it. You just have to focus on hosting. Like I'll be your secondhand man, whatever. That went on for like 3 months, crushed. Those Twitter Spaces were insane. At one point, we had like 4,000 concurrent listeners for those. People were listening for the POAPs, but anyways, like that ended up like January, it all kind of came crashing down. There's a huge controversy around like the investment for his fund that he was raising. Like it was a huge thing. And actually a month before, this is like a funny story. A month before, I was visiting New York, and I was in New York, and I was trying to find people to hang out with. And I was wanting to hang out with Ryan because we spent like 2 months together, and he like kind of blew me off. And I hit up Pio and Nick, and they're like, yeah, dude, like we'll hang out, like come get dinner with us. I got dinner with them, and I was like, oh my God, these guys like were willing to just like hang out and get dinner and like just talk. I initially wanted to work for them before, but I was trying to do like work for Ryan and them, and it just didn't work out. But they were like, hey, like we'll just keep in touch. Eventually the thing with Ryan didn't work out, and then I hit them up literally that day. And that day we had a conversation. They're like, yeah, like work for us. And I joined the team like literally that like within 24 to 48 hours. And it wasn't as a content creator. It was just as like a background guy behind the scenes. Over time, they were really helpful for me. And that's why I think for a lot of creators, it's so important to have other people that you're working with and not be by yourself.
Yeah.
Having a mentor or a like teammate that knows when to encourage you to go out of your comfort zone and be like, no, dude, this is like a really good idea. I love, like, keep doing this, keep trying, fix this, and like can give you feedback, all those things, but also knows when to like be hard on you and can be like, yo, this sucks. Or like, hey, you're not showing up. Like what's going on? Knows how to balance like pushing you, but also encouraging you is really important. And they were like, when I first started doing the blast stuff and I was just trying random stuff, there were no stakes, and they were super helpful in giving me feedback and like helping me get better. And if it wasn't for them, I don't know if I would have gone in to content as hard as I did.
Yeah.
How's it feel to now work, like what, 2 years in with them, maybe a little bit less? How's it feel like so far? Like, I mean, it's been incredibly rewarding. Those guys are like, they're up there with like, I hold certain categories of people, right, in CT, as most people do. I'd put those boys and yourself, obviously, plus OSF and Mando and that crew pretty much in the top tier. And there's not many people that get close to them. How do you think, and how have you reflected on what they have achieved? Because obviously PO spoke about how their goal has shifted now to being like, I mean, I woke up this morning and I see Easy rolling out of bed with Phantom, mate. So like, it's like, okay, sick. Like that's the content. And so PO's pitch was like, oh, look, we're all just content creators too. Exactly like you've expanded on already. Like create as much viral content around particular topics that gets people talking about crypto or whatever it is. So are you so happy with how that progress has gone, and what's coming next, I suppose?
Yeah, it's been really cool seeing the progress that's been made, like with Easy, with Nick, with Pio, with myself. You have a really big advantage working kind of collectively. And yeah, there's a big advantage in just having same energy moving. We've shifted a lot. Like, we used to have a really big team. Now we're like really big. We're really slim now. It's the four of us, some editors and some kind of offshore people, and Ray, who like hosts the show and like helps a lot with like partnerships and all of that. We've found our niche of being able to find partners that like working with us, like our type of content, and align with us. And we provide like, content they like. So it's been really nice. Like, we've been able to like really get into a good workflow for it. There's other things we're really interested in now with like Nick, with Choose Rich Live. We've like that what started as a kind of a news piece, news app. We're now working on like, hey, like, is this maybe more interesting to be positioning it towards creators and having them, like, there's some cool things there that we're really that hopefully, we can talk a little bit more about in the next couple of weeks. But it's great having like an organization that you can work with. Honestly, like, community is the biggest thing, and being able to log in every day and have like your group, your crew is massive. It's helped keep me steady. And I wouldn't really trade it for anything.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I think that's just, being consistent, being in a community, being with a team, and growing together. Nothing beats that. Literally nothing beats that. All right, let's pivot over to crypto specifically. Let's talk a little bit more about your bags, about what you're bullish on, what you're bearish on, all these sorts of things. Pudgy Penguins, Pengu, that's just going absurd at the moment, right? Luca literally came out again today on a stream and said, I was talking to Craig briefly about this at the start, but basically he came out and said, we messed up with the Pengu airdrop. We should have rewarded our big pudgies first so that they could claim. And then after that, what we could have done is obviously then shared it essentially to the rest of the world that got it. So Craig just shared me the tweet from back in the day, mate. Here we go.
Mark? Is that with the dead fella, Clemente? Was it dead fellas?
I lost like 1.5 ETH on that, or 2 ETH. No,
I got smashed on NFTs. I still got an other side deed, for God's sake.
We have Betty on the show next week, actually, so that'll be fun.
I thought that was cool. That's a good throwback, eh?
That is good.
Yeah, that makes me feel old too, man. Fuck.
But talk to me about Pudgy Penguin. So Luca came out today and said, no, Abstract TGE is going to be very different. We're going to reward the loyalty of people who've been talking about us for a long time, the people who've been buying our token for a long time. He's collecting data in a range of different ways, and he's going to reward us. I speak about us because they're my bags, but like, what's your whole, like, from a different perspective? Because I know we get a bit caught up probably with the whole Pudgy Penguin bullishness. So it'd be great to sort of get your take on it from your POV.
They have, they have a lot of things going for them. Like, consistently, they've shown that they're a team you cannot fade, and are obsessed with the number one thing that matters. Well, really two things. Number one is the price. They are obsessed and hyper aware of price go up. That is like their number one goal. So to have someone that's like, is obsessed about that and is going to do everything they can in their power to make price go up, you like to see that. Like, that's obviously a great thing. On the price go up part, it's essential to have someone that dreams big and is a good salesperson. And Luca's like a great salesperson. Every show he goes on, he knows his talking points. He knows exactly what people want to hear, and he presents that every single time. Like, it's very hard to find him on a podcast in which he does, like, he slips up or the messaging isn't like crystal clear. So he's very self-aware of that. They're crushing it. And then the second part of the really important part is distribution, right? And there's a reason why everybody is rocking the Pudgy Penguins. All those brands are rocking Pudgy Penguins. They have like really big distribution within like normies through just like Web 2 branding that people don't even realize is crypto backend.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Now with abstract, there's good things that I've liked about abstract. There's also parts that I haven't been as interested in.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I experienced the blast. Like, it's just so hard to get teams that have product market fit with like good products on your chain straight up. What apps exist that have product market fit? Pump Fun, gambling. Fantasy Top, gambling. Like fantasy, like daily fantasy sports. What else has like, and then there's the infrastructure stuff. Everything else is like, so product market fit equals gambling. So the thing with abstract is like you need a breakout app. I like what they did with streaming. That was a really like sharp thing to do. And it's less about like abstract and it's more about like blockchains in general. We talk to a lot of like teams and blockchains that are like, dude, we want more people to talk about us. We want more people like interacting with us. Or they go do like, they do a Yap campaign. They're like, we want more people to talk about it. We're going to do a Yap. But they have nothing for people to talk about.
Yeah.
So the thing with abstract is like, okay, the reason I don't use it is because I don't know, like, what am I going to do? I can buy meme coins. I can do like the games and stuff and earn XP. Like, that's fine. I can do that. I just don't have the time to like try to like farm and do stuff. The content stuff is really interesting. That like the streaming is the most interesting thing about abstract to me, because they've done like a really good job of the distribution portion of it. Now they're competing with Pump Fun. Yeah. But that's what, like, I experienced this with Blast. It's like extremely difficult. What you end up getting with these pre-TGE ecosystems is the gambling products thrive because people are willing to lose, let's say 10% of their stack, because they know they're going to be, or they think they're going to be compensated with the crypto token after the TGE. Yeah. So
what about Base and their announcement this week with their whole now switch into sort of a similar process?
Like I got on the app, or their website. It's interesting. Like it's very similar to abstract. I will say Base has the distribution, which is huge.
Yes.
Right? Like Base has a massive on-chain audience. Is that going to convert? I don't know. They've been executing very well, but you saw like 3 years ago, they did Coinbase NFT. That was a freaking disaster.
That's right.
I think Base is interesting. Base now has Fantasy Top. Base, the Zora piece of like the creator coins, that was initially like, that was another lesson I learned watching it, is Jesse is kind of just, he's a good example of, you hang around long enough and you learn, like if you can just stick around and just iterate, try shit, eventually you're going to find something that sticks. And I found what they did with Zora pretty interesting, where you create your coin and additional content you create, like additional content coins, the LP is in your original token. I think that's really interesting versus it being in like ETH or whatever, Zora. I think that's interesting. Personally, like if I had to choose, am I more interested in Base or abstract? It's going to be Base. And I'm using Base not because of an airdrop, right? Like abstract, I'm interested in abstract because there's like the growing ecosystem. Abstract has a really tight-knit community. Yeah. They've also done a really good, like that's the beauty of having an NFT community, is you can funnel them into like trying all this stuff. Abstract has really passionate community. And like, it's not that I don't like abstract or that I'm fading abstract. It's if I was starting today as a creator, I would go on abstract.
Yeah.
Like 1,
without a doubt. Without a doubt. I agree. Yeah.
I'd stream every day. I'd do what Eli is doing.
Yeah.
But if I was watching Eli, I'd be like, dude, I'm going to stream 3 times as much as him.
Yeah. I agree.
I'm going to do the dumbest shit.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to do IRL streams. I'm going to clip myself. I'm going to clip farm. I'm going to do the craziest shit and like stream, post, short form video, like what I'm doing right now, except with additional part of like streaming and more like educational content. That would be like my playbook. But now like that and it's not like I have like a huge audience, but in where I'm at now, like with time and everything, it doesn't make as much sense for me personally to be like super deep in abstract.
Yeah, I like to diversify. Like I'm making money on Solana, I'm making money on base, I'm making money on abstract, I'm making money in futures, I'm making money in spot. So unlike Eli, but I've created a brand on being a trader for a long period of time, right? That's the whole point. Like trading trends is what I've done. And so if you are watching this and you are an aspiring creator, I couldn't agree more. Abstract's probably the place for you if you stay consistent enough. Let's pivot to info. Like last couple of topics. Obviously, don't want to take too much of your night away from you, but I want to talk about Fantasy Top and InfoFi, and then I want to talk about NFTs lastly as well. So, InfoFi, like, talk to us about the evolution of it, because I'm in the camp that it's gone too far the wrong way, in my opinion. I don't know if you agree with that. Like, I feel like education, I feel like actual news, actual good content is being masked and being hidden by people who know how to play engagement over time. And it's the same creators. And again, no, I'm not trying to discount all these people. Like, they're friends of yours, I know, and those sorts of things. But like, they're playing it in a particular way now that they're farming the shit out of yaps or farming the shit out of mindshare in a particular topic. What's your thoughts on all that?
I agree 100%. Trying to get a light. I'm going to turn this other one up shortly. Kaido or InfoFi, AttentionFi, whatever you call it, started out as like a great idea. The people that didn't fade Kaido crushed it. The problem with content and like everyone was saying, this is going to democratize creators, right? Everyone can go in and like earn. But the problem with any marketing is you want high signal people talking about you, right? That's what you want.
Yeah.
Now, what people are doing with Kaido, and like if you're using Kaido, what it's really good for is building your top of funnel. But like if you don't have anything to talk about, which goes back to what I was saying earlier, most people don't have anything to talk about because they don't have good like apps. So if you don't have product, like, so what it's turned into is they're like, okay, we have a TGE coming up. We want to create as much noise as possible. By the way, some exchanges are now requiring, they're like, if you want to get listed, you need to have 1,000 smart followers on Kaido, which I think is bullshit. I think is bullshit, but that is happening. I don't know if it's still happening. But
I don't even have 1,000 smart followers. Like, and who determines a smart follower? That's like not decentralized at all.
I agree 100%. So what you get with Kaido is you're targeting mercenary creators that will create content. But those mercenary creators, 98% of them, no one cares about. And I don't mean about it from like that they don't matter. They are not going to make a difference in creating. They're going to create a lot of random noise that no one cares about. So like, it's not going to move the needle for you. So why aren't these creators talking, like the bigger creators talking about it? Well, they're not going to do it for like a chance to rank on a leaderboard that they don't even know what it's based off of.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, if I do one post or two posts, I'm going to be like not even in the leaderboard because there's someone that's posting 98 times.
Yeah.
Like, why would they do that? So it's murky rules, murky rewards, and bad products.
Yeah.
So you have like a combination of like a bunch of garbage, and I view them as ads. Which is fine. It's fine to monetize. But if you're talking about a Kaido product and you wouldn't talk about it naturally, that's an ad. So the timeline went from, every every 5 posts out of 100 were ads. Yeah. Now it's 30 posts. Or like, I actually just mute them. So there's a bunch of.
I think it's more. I think the percentage is higher on some of these accounts. Like, and it's just the way they've managed to manipulate their language. I don't know.
If you're, and this goes back. So what you have a problem with is like, so you like, and then companies. The problem is companies. It's all messed up. The entire system's a disaster.
Beautiful. I'm going to clip that. The whole thing's a mess.
The whole thing is a mess. And by the way, I own Kaido, and I think eventually they're going to turn it around. But the whole thing is a disaster. I realized how dumb it was when I checked the Kaido leaderboard. You can look at it right now. Pre-TGE. The #1 pre-TGE project right now, I'm sharing my screen. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. Memex, which is incentivizing people to take pictures of their own shit.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Like, and this was above Pump Fun before their TGE last Saturday.
Nuts.
That is a messed up system. Oh,
Yeah.
and let's look at another leaderboard, the CT leaderboard. In the last 7 days, you have Camel, number 9, who has been spreading misinformation for the last 7 days.
Yeah.
As an experiment, by the way, and it worked. So that tells you everything you need to know about the current system. Kaido's crushing it. As a business, they've made hundreds of millions of dollars because they've become like the farmer platform. But there's no brand lift from going on Kaido anymore. If you're going on Kaido, 3 months ago, it was like, oh my God, there's 10 projects, and this is one of them. That's a fantastic. Like, I'm gonna go check them out. Now there's 100 projects with a leaderboard on Kaido. That means nothing. If anything, it means I don't know how to market. So I'm going to go here and try to create a bunch of noise.
Yeah.
And I'm being extreme because there are some projects that I actually find interesting that are on Kaido, by the way. Cool. And I've actually found some really interesting projects through there. But most projects, Kaido isn't going to solve your problem. You have a product problem. You have like a messaging problem. You don't have a marketing problem.
What I've also noticed too, and Craig and I have faced this issue. I don't know if you guys do too with your team, but like, I'll get DMs from potential opportunities from a business perspective around content, around creation of like whatever it is, like a shill on a stream, all that sort of stuff. But I kind of think like they want to pay us in tokens or future tokens, right? That's their airdrop. They don't want to pay me up front. They don't have within their budget a USDC or a US dollar payment or a percentage that you should be earning as a creator. I would love to get your take on that. Like it's in my opinion, that's so bearish. It's like, what company doesn't have percentage in their in their structure to pay for marketing to the people that they're already approaching about marketing because they like the way that they market or create content or whatever they do. I think that's a big limitation of companies, and it just shows me that they're being too greedy and they're trying to take the money that they have or the money that they will earn directly to themselves and not actually pay like marketing and creators over time.
I would never, we have a rule in our company. We never work with partners that will pay us only in the token. Frankly, like we rarely like will take token at all. Sometimes it'll be like a bonus or something, but most of the time, if they even like talk about giving us, I don't even actually know. No, it literally, we don't do token deals at all.
Yeah.
Hard stop.
Yeah.
We've
I'm
never,
a big fan of that. Yeah.
I couldn't, and I think we've done it like once or twice and it didn't go well. It didn't go well at all because, and it was supposed to be like a good like they had a good product, whatever it was. And like 2 days in, we're like, okay, no, this is not going to work. Done. Like we'll whatever work we just like, it never works.
Yeah.
That's been our policy. It's been the best policy we could have implemented.
I think it's literally the same policy I've had for a long time. Craig, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Clemente another creator question and monetization. How do you find it best to filter out the crap projects to partner with versus the quality? How do you get to the people that actually want to do cool shit and want to partner with you versus the 500 people that say, hey, let's go to Telegram. Do you want to be a moderator for my fucking project? All the bullshit we all get. What, in your experience, what's the best way to get to the real quality, to get to the cream that actually wants to do cool work with you? How do you get to that?
That's a hard question. I think it comes over time. We have the advantage of like being 4 different creators, basically. So we have like 4 angles at which we're attracting people to work with. It also comes with just like knowing your worth a little bit too. And I think you have to reach like almost like escape velocity as a creator, where you have to basically grind your face off until you get to a point to where you're too hard to ignore. And people have to pay attention to you, and people will watch or interact with whatever it is that you say. Like they'll at least pay attention to you. They might not agree with you, but they'll pay attention to what you say. And as far as working with like some other brands that we've done, like we've found brands that we like working with, and we prioritize long-term relationships over everything. Like we never work with brands on like rarely do it on like a one-off basis. We always try to do 3, 6, 12-month partnerships. And with a lot of the partnerships initially, we're like, hey, like this is a really good brand for us. We'll work with them at a discount because we don't have enough. Like this is a brand that's going to help elevate our brand, right? So we're going to work with them. We're going to do a freaking awesome job. And we're going to leverage that to talk to other clients, be like, hey, this is like this, check out this thing we did with X partner. And they're like, not only is it a good partner, but it performed well. They're like, awesome. That helps us land like the next one. And you have to start from somewhere. Like we've been doing this. The company's been doing it for 3.5 years, 4 years. So they've been doing this for a while. I've been doing it for more like a year and a half. We also, like most of the inbound leads that we get, we say no to. Like 90% of them, 95%, we're like, no, we don't want to work with you. We started doing outbound actually, and we're like, we did a list of like categories, right? Blockchains, trading products, whatever. And then we were like finding people that like we would work with and that we find really freaking cool. Like they're good people, they have a good product. We align with them as creators, and we start doing more outbound. And we're like, hey, like we find what you're doing interesting. Like, can we get on a call? And like over time, like building relationships and doing that, like that's also important, is like finding ways that you create like that companies that are doing something cool, and then how you can actually deliver value to them. Ultimately, all companies care about is like impressions and like good content, right? And if you can do both, that's a win. So
yeah, perfect. Yeah, over to you, Greeny. That was perfect.
Yeah, all right. Well, the last question. So, and then I always like to end the show with a question that you have for us, or questions that you might have for us. So maybe get you thinking about that. But what do you think about NFTs? And
I was going to ask that.
And where's the future of NFTs? Like, is it more than just a token airdrop? Like, talk to us a little bit about that perspective, because as you mentioned at the start of the show, it was like literally your first exposure to crypto was purely NFTs.
NFTs are, I actually think they came early. Like they were too early for their own good. I'm sorry, it's so dark. Sorry, guys.
That's right, man.
NFTs, actually, 1 second. I'm going to turn this light on. Give me literally 5 seconds.
Hello, Greeny.
Hey, man.
NFTs
that's better.
Came as like a utility token, which was really weird. Like, if you actually look at what a lot of the top projects, even like Azuki, Bored Ape Yacht Club, all of those things, they delivered on what they promised, or what they're building. Like Azuki is building some cool stuff. They're building their top of funnel. They're like, it takes a long time to create, and expectations ran way too, like it coincided with a lot of different macro conditions with COVID and all that. Like, you had people cooped up in there, and it created like this asset class that got way too hot. My thesis with NFTs is we will one day, just like we saw with meme coins, my prediction with meme coins, we're going to see a bigger NFT market cap than the one we saw last cycle. NFT, but it'll be like as a digital identity or a like digital asset flex. That's it. Like it's a luxury asset.
Yeah.
Now, what makes these luxury assets appealing? There's different like ways to look at it, but like that is what people are looking for. And like we're at a period in time where people we're spending more and more time online, more and more, and it's only going to go up. People like to flex. People will get to the point to where they will want to show like, hey, I made whatever money. I made X amount of money. Like, you can show it with, instead of a watch, you're showing it with like your PFP. And I think, I had a moment, really interesting moment, like January of this year, where someone, like, I talked to a guy who wasn't in crypto, and I told him I was in crypto, and he was like, oh, like, what do you own? And I started like rifling off a bunch of like Bitcoin. He's like, no, like, what NFT do you own?
Oh.
I was like, oh, what? Like, that was pretty interesting. And I didn't actually own that much at the time. And I had a moment actually in January with that mini run, or December, that mini run we had after Pengu, where all these projects started running. And I was like, dude, this is what like, the worst thing that can happen is you're sidelined to something you were bullish on.
Yeah.
I would rather lose money being wrong
Yeah, same.
then be right, but not be allocated to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
And that's my thesis with me with NFTs. Like I have an amount that I'm willing to lose, and that's it. And I think over time, I don't know when they're going to come back, and I don't know what the price of it's going to be.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know if a fair valuation for something is like 50K or 100K or is it 10K?
Yeah.
Like I don't know, and it's, but like we're starting to see things as digital assets versus you're getting an airdrop for a meme coin. Frankly, I would rather Pudgy Penguins be like, yo, fuck the NFTs. We're not giving them an airdrop. And like,
Please,
because
be very interesting. Yeah.
I don't know how to justify what the value is.
Yeah.
But like, you look at Azuki, you look at Doodles, you look
Yeah.
at all those post, like coin drops. That's their true valuation. When
Yeah,
you're
100%.
seeing Azuki at like 1.8 ETH, I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting to me because the coin drop already happened. And
Agreed.
they're getting how many views on their website a day on as anime.com? I'm like, okay, that's interesting to me. What's their presence like in it? Like all like you can actually start looking at it from a rational perspective. I have no interest in these coins. Like all of these coins that we saw, they're down only.
Yeah.
And that was like because people wanted that exit pump. But yeah, that's how I'm thinking about it. And that's why I like ordinals. I've been wrong on ordinals so far. I'm down.
I was going to bring up ordinals because Craig's a big
ordinals.
But like, so before we talk about ordinals, like, so does that mean with apes at 11.25, you think that is their fair value? Or do you think there's speculation still that other side and all that sort of stuff, metaverse, will eventually come?
I don't. I view Bored Apes as no coin, no future airdrop. Anything would be a bonus. Or do I think they should do one? Frankly, like Bored Apes, it would have been awesome if they just did luxury. I would have loved it if they never did the game.
Yeah.
That's my take. It would have been cool if they just did luxury, like merch and events and like really, really focus on doing that activation. But Bored Apes are the most recognizable NFT by far. They kick Pudgy Penguins
bigger than
ass.
Punks. Yeah, bigger than Punks. Yeah, by far.
Yeah, bigger than Punks by far. Bigger than Pudgy Penguins. Pudgy Penguins is a bigger brand.
Yes.
But most people that view it as a brand don't know it's an NFT or a crypto asset.
Yes.
Bored Apes, people think NFTs, they think Bored Apes.
Yeah.
What's that worth? I don't know. And I mean, they're worth 11 ETH, whatever. Like, so yeah.
Blade's come in and said, what about Moonbirds with Spencer obviously acquiring them more recently? What's your playbook there? Do you have one?
Spencer understands. No, well, actually, when they first got announced, I bought one at like 0.3 and sold it for like at like 0.7. So I was pretty excited about that. I was like, a good win. I think like Spencer, what used to come on the morning show. I've known Spencer for quite a while.
Yeah.
He is someone that understands NFTs.
Yes.
And price go up very well. That's all he cares about. He was literally an investor in NFTs.
Yes.
And in like the crypto world. So going back to what we were talking about with Luca, like piece number one is price go up and obsession with it. He knows how to play that game. He also loves fungible coins. I don't have any like alpha on that or anything. I think it's an interesting play, but they're also like already at 0.7 ETH.
Yeah.
He's starting to build like a good amount of conviction holder, 0.80. Like they're crushing it. They're crushing it. And something people like. It's not about delivering something. It's about getting enough people to believe that these will go up in price. It literally what he delivers has nothing to do with it. Or what he delivers convinces more people that price will go up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, building speculation, building hype. Like that's naturally what anyone wants to achieve, right? You should own this token, this NFT for a reason because you think you're gonna, it's gonna do well for you in the future. So then ordinals, obviously you did well, you didn't do well on ordinals. We didn't even touch on the counter trade sort of CT vibe that you have, but I mean we can. But I mean, talk to us about ordinals. Like Craig is obviously, I traded ordinals way back when they first started. I made a shit ton. I made like half a Bitcoin or something crazy. I know Craig made about a Bitcoin. I like the idea of ordinals, but I think they've shifted away from that whole mindset of, Bitcoin wealth is going to come by the NFTs on Bitcoin, right? It's nothing to do with that. It's the same audiences trading all these different blockchains, all these different products, all these different markets. Why is ordinals interesting to you?
It's the original thesis of like, well, the luxury asset of it. I like that the fair value, like it's not built on a future coin airdrop. It's not like it's a pure play collectible. I think inflows into Bitcoin are like inflows are going to come to Bitcoin. You can make the argument for Ethereum as well. And yeah, that's literally what it is. Like I think Bitcoin's going to have the most inflows. I like holding NFTs in something where it's like the underlying asset isn't extremely volatile, which is what I didn't like about Ethereum NFTs. Like, okay, I own this thing. It's still whatever 0.6 ETH, but Ethereum's down 30% in the last month. So I'm making money. Now, the problem is people don't like spending their Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right. And I think people still feel poor. Like, I think a lot of people don't feel like they've quote unquote made it this cycle at all. A lot of people are like, dude, I'm not selling my Bitcoin. Altcoins haven't pumped yet. So like a lot of people still feel broke. And until people start feeling really rich, they're not going to buy these. So I also think the attitude from the ordinals community needs to change. They made their personality the fact that they're down on these like on these NFTs. It's like if you have you need to have a personality and a community aspect that people want to be a part of. Like, and if you're always complaining about how much you're down on something, like I don't understand that strategy. So I love ordinal. I have an OMB, I have a puppet, and I have a wizard. So I like too much exposure. I mean, I have too much exposure.
Yeah, like a quarter of a Bitcoin. Oh, or slightly more. Yeah.
Soon to be 5 Bitcoin, Greeny.
I mean, if I can but exactly, like if I can accumulate Bitcoin through NFTs, that's freaking fantastic. Like, that's unreal. I don't care about, I mean, like I'm being extreme. I don't care about making an ETH.
No, neither.
But like if I can, I'm like, oh shit, I'm up 0.03 Bitcoin. Holy shit. There's something different about that.
That's fair.
I totally agree. Ordinals for me were the same, Clemente, in that, I found them early, was trading them. And what I found interesting is selling into the underlying asset, which is Bitcoin. And the greatest thing that I did was, say, when I found puppets, Bitcoin was sitting at about, was it 40K? So I was selling into Bitcoin, and then I held the Bitcoin until Bitcoin pumped to 75 to 100K. So, you're flipping ordinals for a 3X, 5X, 10X, and then flipping the Bitcoin for a 2X, maybe 3X. And then I could stay in sats. I managed to just grow my Bitcoin bag a lot compared to what I started with in the bull run, because I need altcoins because they've got a higher upside per se, and then selling them into Bitcoin. And then I found ordinals and runes for a certain amount of time, God forbid runes. And I didn't have to then buy the Bitcoin. I just got to sell into it. And then Bitcoin, this run has done tremendously, like compared to selling into ETH, which didn't pump until now. But Bitcoin over that time has done a 3X where ETH has stayed flatline. So for me, that was such a good trade. And I hope other people experience it, because moves on Bitcoin, I found compared to Ethereum, people don't seem to realize how much a small move in Bitcoin is in price. So what I mean by that is, say a puppet's 0.05, when it goes to 0.1, it's a massive change in price. And the amount of sats you can accumulate is tremendous. So I mean, I've got a couple of puppets left. I'm a bit underwater in them, but I'm still holding. I shout out to them. They had a race car go the other day. I think it was yesterday. That was pretty fucking cool. But I agree with you. The communities need to get away with berating themselves about losses, kind of like Bunny did with his 8 for so long. And then after a while, people got a bit like, okay, Bunny, we get it. You're down 500,000. It almost gets to the point where it's a little bit sad. And no shame to him. I just mean what it looks like optically. And I think puppets and ruins in particular are going through that now, where it's become sort of a joke, which is not ideal. But I'm the same as you. I'm still bullish on ordinals. I might be one of the few that are. But yeah, people need to experience selling into the King's Chain, man. It's fucking fantastic. Get away from ETH, guys. Get onto Bitcoin. I think it's a much better asset. And selling into that and selling into those pumps. And you can even just hold that Bitcoin that you make from ordinals and not sell it.
Exactly.
You don't need to. Anyway, I'm going to shut up. That was my rant about ordinals. Everyone buy a puppet, please. I'm underwater.
Man, I was just reading. Beanie's got some fight thing that he wants to stream, and Easy commented and said you should stream on not on YouTube. So that was just an interesting read for me. All right, Clemente, let's wrap this. But it's obviously evening for you, so we don't want to take you into the late nights. So we always like to end the show with questions that you might have for us. PO's question was, do you have an asset that you would never sell? And my answer was no. I think Craig said no to that question too. Is that right? I think it was.
It was my house, probably.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So any question, mate, it can be any topic. It can be multiple questions. Doesn't have to be anything specific. So I'll give you some time if you need as well.
No, I'm good. Like what I think, like what do you think is what's the most interesting thing in crypto that doesn't have the attention you think it deserves? Like what do you think is going to be a meta that doesn't exist right now? An example of that, like you can't, like ordinals would potentially be an example. I've been talking to Kix about it on our show a lot, and he's been like trying to figure out, like we had NFTs, we had meme coins, like the kind of trenching aspect of it. InfoFi did make a lot of people a lot of money with the AI meta. Like I'm curious if you guys think there's anything like interesting that you
I'm gonna double down on pretty much like today's theme and say content. And in terms of content, I'm gonna say streaming. Like obviously Thread Guy's killing it again since he's come back. Streaming and clipping. I'm gonna say those two are probably just like it's massive. I saw a really interesting stat. I think it was this morning or yesterday. YouTube Shorts have overtaken the daily watches on TikTok. Like that's massive. Like that's quite big as well. And obviously with the success that you've seen on CT, with Elon's focus on video content over time, I think it's a no-brainer to get your face out there. Or if you don't want to, ISOBeat's a great example. Don't put your face out there. Just be your PFP. That's very notable, right? I think content for me is still there's a massive gap in it. And because, as you discussed as well, consistency. And no one here, like, we've been showing up consistently for 2-3 years. That's why we've got success. That's why we're about to sign a partner deal of our own next week or the week after. So it's like, if you are consistent enough in this gap that we call that, mate, that's so much better.
I know. I just found it. I just found it.
And but yeah, like I think content for me.
Yeah, look, for me, Greeny took the words out of my mouth again. I think there's a big gap still for actually what Clemente does a lot and does it very well is short form video creation. Yeah. There's not a lot on the timeline that's quality. There's not a lot of people doxing themselves. So I think if you're a new creator wanting to make a splash, I think you can do it quite easily on crypto Twitter versus, say, if you went to TikTok or Instagram. It took me fucking years on Instagram. I mean, I'm a male. I'm not that interesting there. Whereby on crypto Twitter, yeah, I need some assets, right? Whereas crypto Twitter, I think my brain can kind of shine and maybe a sense of humor a little bit more. So I think short form, probably video content, and then probably I have to take Clemente's answer here, probably ordinals. I think I've just got a feeling ordinals might catch a lot of people off guard. And I think what's going to happen is what happened last time, where they were kind of the laughing stock when it started. And then once price moves, it becomes not the laughing stock and it becomes, why didn't I think of that? So I don't know if I've got bag bias there. Perhaps I try and keep impartial. So I think probably ordinals will close enough to, I think, catching a wave soon, especially with Bitcoin teetering at all-time high. I'm waiting for that moment to come. So ordinals, and I think video content, I think there's still, for creators, there's so much more room for creators to create quality content that captures attention. And I don't think brands have a lot of good creators at the moment to go to that are actually doing good content rather than just regurgitated info-fi bullshit that I see a lot of these people doing, which I think, as Clemente says, offers no long-term value to any brand. And Clemente will probably agree with this, and Greeny, we've had it where brands just want to come to us and they're like, how much for a tweet? And I'm like, I don't fucking want to just tweet, like one tweet. Like, A, it just feels disingenuous. B, I don't typically like the products mostly, so I don't really want to talk about it because I feel it's going to take away my value. And I think brands are just going for this a lot of brands are just going for this one quick off hit versus what Clemente spoke about, which Greenie, I know we're bullish on, a 3-month partnership, 6 month. And I mean, this is going to sound cheesy, but a real partnership, something where you both have your goals in alignment.
Yeah, exactly. That you're investing, you want to spend time. The one other thing I just thought of as well, a worldwide viral game that's blockchain/crypto. That's like, you think about.
Do you mean like an Angry Birds or a Call of Duty?
No, well, anything. Like something that's going to be played for more than 5 years.
Okay.
Over, like, because I sort of throw like CSGO, RuneScape, Fortnite, COD series, like GTA. Like they're probably like the viral. Like I know we have Off the Grid. I know we had like Axie Infinity and stuff. I know Gigaverse is doing a great job on Abstract at the moment. But like for 5 years, where millions of people tune into these games, that has blockchain technology or crypto involved in some capacity, that's probably the biggest sort of next thing I think that happens.
And the harsh truth is for those, in my opinion, a lot of those, like that style of play, crypto Twitter is not going to, with anything I think pops off, crypto Twitter probably won't have an advantage. Like it's not going to be, we dump on retail. Like I think crypto natives think that like they're always going to be dumping on retail.
Yeah.
Well, A, you are retail, and B, a lot of people, it's a different game when it goes actually broader versus this niche ass bubble we're in. Craig, what you're saying on ordinals is, I like to think in hypotheticals, and does the narrative make sense if it starts pumping? Like, do you get that of course moment and like, holy shit, I have FOMO when this thing starts pumping? And Pengu actually was like an easy one, where it was like down low, you're like, okay, this thing's down bad, so is the entire market. What happens if this thing pumps 10x? Like, if people are gonna be like, oh, of course, it's Pengu, right? And with ordinals, I think people are gonna be like, oh, of course, like it's NFTs on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's at 130K. Of course, it's gonna like pump if everyone's making money there. So
and that was the sentiment probably a year ago. There was that, and then it vanished as price. Obviously, Bitcoin crabbed, things sold off, and then the sentiment tends to cuck for a bit. But I think it will rise, just like ETH NFTs kind of did for a moment. But I like your take, whereby the ordinals don't rely on meme coins, and there's no real association with teams having to do a drop. There's random drops from other teams trying to capture attention, but not like an Azuki and that's no shade to them, but we've seen that unfortunately play out, and I think there's too much of a bitter taste. And I think ordinals kind of feels to me unspoiled in a way compared to other NFTs. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking that wrong. Maybe people would argue with me. That's just the way I feel, and I feel like that. Hopefully others do. But yeah. So Kuya Mark just said puppets for the W. Fucking A, dude. Let's go.
No, well, Clemente, mate, thank you so much for jumping on our show. We've much appreciated. Thank you very much for your time. Been an absolute pleasure. I'm sure plenty of people got a lot out of that today. So as always, thank you again, and keep killing it, man. Like I mean, we've been probably growing around the same pace for a long time. So it's so nice to see you succeed. So keep shooting your shot, mate. You're absolutely nailing it.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, Clemente. Love your work. We'll see you on the timeline, brother. Also, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And we'll catch you Sunday for the Americans in the room. Sunday, 7 p.m. EST. Start your week off the right way with a bit of humor.
Yeah, we're pumped. And then we have Betty on our show next Tuesday. So big week ahead, guys. As always, thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you go follow GC Crypto TV on Twitter. That's where you can catch all their replays, or alternatively on our YouTube channels as well. Craig, have a lovely weekend, mate. And see you on Sunday.
Thanks, Greenie. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you on Sunday.
See you later, guys. Thanks.